The screen fades into the quiet hum of a car engine, city lights reflected in a rain-speckled windshield. Detroit. Winter. The kind of night where every breath fogs the glass and silence feels heavy. Some nights test your patience. Others test your dignity. And then there are nights when life gives you a perfect chance to teach someone a lesson they'll never forget. Mark, a weary but composed Uber driver, glances at his phone, another pickup request flashing across the screen. He exhales through his nose, tired but ready. 4.5 stars. Not bad for a Friday night. He accepts the ride. The destination, downtown Detroit. What he doesn't know is that this short trip will turn into a story that still makes him smile years later. You ever meet someone who thinks the world owes them respect, but can't give a drop of it themselves? Yeah, that's who Mark met that night. If you've ever been disrespected for simply doing your job, if you've ever wanted to serve poetic justice to someone who thought they were better than you, hit that like button right now. Because tonight's story is going to remind you that karma doesn't always wait years, sometimes it strikes within minutes. Mark had been driving Uber part-time since late 2018. It wasn't glamorous. Long nights, unpredictable people, the faint smell of cheap liquor from backseat passengers. But it paid the bills, and Mark took quiet pride in doing his job well. Detroit in early winter was unforgiving. The wind cut through thick jackets, and the streets shimmered under pale orange streetlights. The city buzzed with weekend energy, laughter echoing from bars, engines revving, the distant wail of a siren. Mark sipped from his thermos, lukewarm coffee, and glanced at his phone. New request. Pick up a group of 4 men. 5 minutes away. He accepted, turned the key, and started driving. I'll grab this one, then maybe call it a night, he muttered to himself, rubbing tired eyes. One more ride can't hurt. But as fate would have it, this one wouldn't be like the others. Confusion and calm. He reached the GPS location, a corner outside a busy downtown bar. The sidewalks were scattered with people waiting for rides, all bundled up in coats and scarves. He couldn't immediately spot his passengers. He parked, hazard lights blinking, and checked the app. Waiting for rider. No sign of them. After a minute, his phone rang. The contact read passenger, pickup. Hey, yeah, I'm outside, Mark said, glancing through the windshield. Where exactly are you standing? The voice on the other end was calm and polite. We're right near the corner of Jefferson and Woodward. Just by the lamppost. What car are you in? Mark smiled slightly. Black Camry. Should be right by you. The man replied pleasantly. Got it, we'll look for you. So far, so good. Mark leaned back, checking his mirrors for movement. But then, muffled voices. Arguing, laughing. The phone shuffled. Another man's voice came on the line. This one, sharper. Arrogant. And it was instantly clear. This guy thought he was in charge. Listen, mate, the new voice said, dripping with condescension. We've been standing here freezing for ages. How long does it take to find us, eh? Mark blinked, confused. Ages? He checked his timer. It had been maybe 2 minutes since arrival. He spoke calmly. I'm literally at the spot your GPS marked. Maybe walk a few feet down. The man interrupted, voice rising. No, that's not how this works. You're supposed to find us. That's your job, isn't it? We're freezing out here. You're the driver, not us. The tone wasn't just rude. It was laced with superiority, like he was talking to a servant, not a person. Mark felt his jaw tighten. He tried again. Sir, if you just tell me exactly what. No, listen, the man snapped. You drivers always make excuses. Just come to where we are. Is it that hard to follow simple instructions? The voice behind the phone had that polished arrogance. Maybe British, maybe Indian, but unmistakably condescending. It was the tone of someone used to being obeyed. Mark's heart thudded once. Twice. The faint tremor of anger stirred inside him. He glanced at the clock. They'd been waiting a total of 3 minutes. 3. And this man was acting like he'd been abandoned in a blizzard. The boiling point. Mark wasn't new to rude passengers. He'd been insulted, ignored, even cursed at before. But something about this man, the fake politeness turning into mockery, hit differently. The man kept talking, voice dripping with disdain. "Look, this is ridiculous. I don't understand why you're taking so long. You drivers always mess things up, you know?" Mark felt his pulse rise. His hand tightened on the steering wheel. "You drivers." 2 words that carried every ounce of disrespect. Inside his head, the thoughts spiraled fast. He thinks I'm beneath him. Just another face. Just another driver. He has no idea who he's talking to. The air in the car felt heavier. The heater hummed softly, a cruel contrast to the cold arrogance on the other end of the line. And in that silence, a smile crept onto Mark's face. A small, controlled, deliberate smile. "You know what?" he whispered to himself, eyes narrowing. "You're going to learn patience tonight. Cold justice." The man was still talking when Mark quietly hit end call. A single tone beat through the car. He opened the Uber app, tapped cancel ride, and watched the screen flash. "You have canceled this trip." For a moment, the car was silent. Peaceful. Then, he shifted into drive, pulled away from the curb, and disappeared into the night, headlights melting into the snowflakes drifting down. Somewhere behind him, 4 men stood on a Detroit sidewalk, wind biting at their faces, confused, frustrated, maybe even shouting. But that was their problem now. The sweet silence. Mark didn't blast music. Didn't laugh. Didn't even gloat aloud. He just drove. Calm. Composed. Satisfied. That's the thing about real revenge. It doesn't need noise. It's silent. Cold. Perfect. He picked up another passenger 10 minutes later, a woman heading home from work. Kind. Polite. She thanked him twice before getting out. "Have a good night, sir," she said. "You too," Mark replied, smiling softly. He didn't tell her what had happened earlier. He didn't need to. The night had already balanced itself out. Narrator, slower, thoughtful tone. Mark didn't ruin their night. He didn't shout or curse or stoop to their level. He just gave them exactly what they'd asked for. Time. Time to think. Time to freeze. Time to realize that respect isn't something you demand, it's something you earn. He went home that night, parked the car, and let out a long breath. The city outside was quiet now, just the hum of distant traffic and the whisper of wind. For the first time that week, Mark felt in control. Because sometimes, justice doesn't need to be dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as walking, or driving, away. The next morning, Mark checked his phone. A single message from Uber, passenger reported trip cancelled. No further action required. He smirked. "Of course they did," he said softly. "Of course." Somewhere, that arrogant voice was probably still complaining about the lazy driver who made them wait in the cold. But Mark knew the truth. That night, karma didn't take its time. It arrived instantly, frostbitten and humbling. We've all met someone like that man. Someone who thinks kindness is a transaction. Someone who believes that shouting makes them powerful. But the universe has its own way of teaching lessons. And sometimes it uses people like Mark to deliver them. So the next time you're tempted to look down on someone, the driver, the cashier, the waiter, remember, the real test of character isn't how you treat the powerful. It's how you treat those who serve. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. It helps more people find these real-life revenge stories. And tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying instant karma you've ever seen? Don't forget to subscribe, because every week, We bring you more stories of poetic justice served cold. Fade out with soft music, city lights, snow, and one man's quiet smile in the rearview mirror.